JTA President calls for Special Education Act. President of the Jamaica Teachers Association JTA Dr. Mark Simmet said there is a need for a Special Education Act to provide targeted interventions in the education sector. While acknowledging the provisions in the Disability Act, he said the legislation that focuses only on special education would ensure critical specialized training and educational resources to meet the needs of students. In other jurisdictions, immense support is placed on this, particularly the funding support, and that is what an act provides. It provides a legislative framework to support the funding model to be able to move our schools forward. We have to look at funding education generally, but particularly funding as it relates to special education, he said. Smith was addressing the 8th Educational Conference at the Micro University College Child Assessment and Research in Education Care Center on Friday at the AC Marriott Hotel in Kingston. Emphasizing the demand in the sector, Smith said special education teachers are needed to support the varied learning abilities of children, as well as deliver tangible impact on the entire system. Director of the Microcare Center, Dr. Sharon Morgan, said the conference brings into focus the diverse educational needs of children. She underscored the importance of building a more inclusive and supportive educational environment. Dr. Anderson Morgan said the aim of the conference was to build the capacity of stakeholders, including teachers, to provide best practices interventions for students who present with learning gaps. That could include students with special education needs and disabilities, but there may be other struggling students. The Microcare Center provides diagnostic and therapeutic intervention services in support of children with exceptionalities in Jamaica and the wider region. It supports special needs education and provides specialized targeted support and education to parents, teachers, and caregivers. The conference, which brought together educators, researchers, and practitioners, was held from October 17 to 18 under the theme Bridging the Gap, Understanding and Supporting the Whole Child. NROCC assures property owners of compensation for land acquired for Long Hill Bypass project. Owners of land and occupiers of properties that have to be acquired by the government to facilitate construction of the Long Hill Bypass in St. James are being assured that they will be compensated. The matter was raised during a committee consultation meeting for the Long Hill Bypass at the Mount Care Baptist Church on Thursday. The meeting was hosted by the National Road Operating and Constructing Company Limited, NROCC. The Long Hill Bypass is a sub-project of the Montego Bay Perimeter Road project. It will be a 10.5 km 4-lane highway leading from Mount Pillar to Temple Gallery Road at Bogue. Work on the Mount Pillar section of the bypass was expected to begin soon. NROCC Environmental Manager Errol Mote explained that persons who have titles for affected land will be compensated much quicker because the acquisition process is fairly straightforward. Mr. Mote noted that the process is a bit different for persons who do not have titles such as for family land. For instance, if they occupy a house on the land that they do not own, they will be compensated for the house but not the land. If they are farmers, they will be compensated for their produce as well, given time to reap the crops. As it relates to informal settlers or squatters, the issue will also be addressed with concentration for what they will lose.
One of the bigger challenges are persons who are on family lands, or persons who have purchased property, but you did not get a diagram, or you did not get a title, all you had probably was a receipt, right? And there are many persons like that. Or you get on a big property, you may have like 10, 12 structures on that one big property, and you have one owner who may have died many years ago, who you probably don't even know. A number of persons are anxious whether they'll be left out. But all of those persons with family lands or issues are, we consider the property. Now there's a caveat here. The Act doesn't allow us to purchase land that doesn't have a title, the land itself. But if there's a house on the land, we pay for the house. But until there is a registered title, then that's after when the land itself is paid for. But if a house is there, we validate the house, pay for the house. And when you get the title for the land, then NROC will pay you for the land. There are many persons who are on lands you got, somebody gave the land to work, You're going to work the land for the last 10 years or 20 years, right? Somebody give you land, the land's not being used, and you work in the land, but it's not yours. If you are impacted that way, then NROC will deal with it. So we do value the crops that are there, and we pay the persons who are tenant farmers for those crops. And then the agreement is done between the team, NROC, and yourself as to whether you think the crops are valued at the right price. But there's always a way out, a mechanism for you to do your own valuations, etc., etc. So when that happens, though, we don't just value it and pay you, and then we just bring the bulldozer in the next day. We give you the opportunity to reap the crops, and then we come in and then we value. Not to go and plant new crops now, but to reap what is there. Those persons who are on properties informal, it's not your blood, you didn't get permission to go there, but you are there, and that's a reality. So persons with no claim means you don't have any claim on the property as a legal person, as right to the property. We look at what you have. The things are assessed, whether it's a stall, whether it's a house, whether it's crops or whatever it is, those are assessed, and we value it. And between NROC and yourself, you come to an agreement to the price based on the standards. So those persons who are informal and properties are dealt with.
Fraser Binns calls for greater discussion, multi-stakeholder approach to climate insurance. Opposition spokesperson on environment and ecological heritage, Senator Sophia Fraser Binns, is calling for more robust discussions and creative solutions to address the challenges posed by climate change, particularly in relation to insurance for building. Addressing the University of Technology Jamaica International Climate Change Conference on Friday, Fraser Binns highlighted the growing risk to both the build and natural environment, noting that rising sea levels, intensified hurricane, and unpredictable weather patterns are already affecting insurance across the Caribbean. In her presentation, Senator Fraser Binns stressed that insurance must not only be seen as a response to climate change, but also a way to build climate resilience. To this extent, she advocated for an expansion of parametric insurance, which triggers automatic payouts based on specific climate conditions, such as rainfall thresholds. This initiative approach could provide affordable insurance for ordinary Jamaicans and not be limited to states or country parties. Senator Fraser Binns also advocated for the introduction of climate resilience discounts in insurance policies, whereby property owners who invest in protective measures, such as hurricane straps and shutters, could enjoy insurance discount. This is one way for building resilience in this climate change environment. The senator called for a multi-stakeholder approach to tackling these challenges, urging collaboration between the government, civil society, and the private sector. As policymakers and leaders, we have a duty to make climate change a bread and butter issue for every Jamaican, she stated. Only through collective action can we build a more resilient future for our communities, our country, and our economy. As Jamaica continues to face the multi-hazard impacts of climate change, Senator Fraser Binns reiterated the importance of coming together to create long-term solutions and secure a sustainable future for all. Remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.